So this here is going to be a video on how to paint up Alpha Legion armor fast and efficiently and in a repeatable way. So what you see here is our finished model. It's your normal Primaris Intercessor and it's completely done. But we're going to show you how we got the green color and the trim for the armor. So we're going to do that now and we'll show you what paints we used. So the first thing we did was we based with Leadbelcher, and then we added a layer over the top of Runefang steel. So that created this very shiny model, of which we decided to paint over with some contrast paints. So you want that shine underneath to really bring out the color once you add the darker overtones. So from there, we added a coat of Akhelian green, and then a second one, and that got us a model that looked like this. So as you can see here, we've got a nice uniform color over both sides, and that sort of got our basic underlying color for our armor done. I'll just back out a little bit more as we work our way to the final model. The next thing we did was take a little bit of contrast paint Warp Lightning, and with a watered down layer, really watered down into a glaze, we covered over the rest of the armor. And so now you've got this blue and green tinged color mixed together here, so you get slightly different shades depending on where the light hits. So after we finished with the Warp Lightning, the last thing we did was we did up the trim itself with some Stormhost silver, which got us the trim there on that model. And then all we did after that was just finish painting up the model and clear coating them, adding our transfers, and that ended up with our final Primaris Alpha Legion. So this is our transition on how to paint our armor, and I'll show you a couple of videos after this on the actual painting, but this is pretty much how we do it at this point. Pretty straightforward, and I hope this helps you. And if so, leave a like on the channel, leave a comment, let me know how it turns out for you. So I hope this helps, and we will see you at our next video. Thanks for watching. Then now back to our Legionary here. All we're going to do is take that contrast paint and just start doing panels like this. And once it's on, we won't touch it. So all we're going to do is put a little bit on our palette, just like so. And the contrast paints are all a little bit hydrophobic here. Anyway, got quite a bit of it there now. And then we're going to add a little bit of water as well, just to mix it up a little bit more. Makes it nice and runny there. We'll go a tiny bit more just for the fun of it. So that's pretty runny, easy to move around with our brush. So we're just going to spread it all the way around here on that shin guard, just like that. Spread it all the way down the leg. So there's our first leg. We'll let that dry. We're going to do the rest of the model, of course. And then we'll probably do a second coat before we get back here again. So here's our infiltrator after our first coat of Akhelian green. And what we're going to do now, because it's light and blotchy and patchy and darker over here and lighter over there, what we're going to do now is just do a complete second coat. And that should iron out the rest of the little details and get a relatively uniform standard coat across all of the armor. So this is our infiltrator now that we finished with the Akhelian green. And as you can see, we've got a nice dark uniform coat. It's definitely still metallically shiny. and everything looks pretty good. For us, though, we want to make it a little bit more green, so we're going to use a little bit of Warp Lightning and just put a light shade of that over the armor as you see it here. So with our wet palette, we're just going to add some of the Warp Lightning here, and like the Akhelian green, it's hydrophobic, so it's very, very, it doesn't attach to the palette very well. It tends to bunch up, but that's okay. We're going to really, really water it down. There's 50-50 water. There's a little bit more. And a little bit more still. And what we're trying to do is make a bit of a glaze with it. So you see it getting more and more runny. I'll probably go one more. That's a little runny there. So that's probably what we'll add to the model now and see how it looks. We've got our infiltrator, and we're just going to dry brush on that green. Or just wet brush on that green. And it's just light enough that you see traces of it. Which is all we want. We want to just pool in some areas and add that tinge of green you see when you turn the light. Just like that. So now that our lieutenant has his green tinged armor, and you can see the green shade comes and goes as we rotate through the light. What we're going to do next is just color in the trim and bring some highlights back to that with some Stormhost silver. So we're just going to clean up all of this like so. I'll be back here in a few minutes to show you what it looks like when it's done.